Welcome to this episode of Evo Inspires. Today, I'm lucky enough to be joined by Tristan. Tell us about yourself, Tristan.
Hi, Fraser. Thanks for having me. My name's Tristan. I've been an engineer for 10 years. I'm an engineering manager at a company called Safewill. I've been about 3 years in leadership with some roles around technical leads, and been sort of doing this here now as an engineering manager. Sort of started off doing the odd internships as one would do. Worked in Woolworths security as an intern for a little bit. Worked at IBM as well doing an internship. Then was able to transform that into starting sort of my career in startups. I worked at one small outfit called Azimuth Security for a couple of years there. We ended up getting merged into a larger corporate, L3 Harris, which is a bit of an interesting venture. Got a lot of interesting exposure in that sort of space, and I was also only working in QA. Then I moved over to Till Payments, where I worked as a senior engineer and then a technical lead as well. Sort of just running many hats across that. Then sort of took a step back for a couple of months as a senior engineer at Grok, and then was able to actually land a role here at Safewill as an EM, which has given me a lot of opportunity to grow, and still sort of been carrying on in the sort of node space, jump between things like on-prem to cloud. It's all been a very interesting venture over the past 10 years with how fast technology moves.
100%. Well, look, mate, we'll crack straight into it. So what's the one piece of career advice you wish someone had given you when you were first starting out?
Yeah, look, I think one of the pieces that I would kind of recommend for people when they're starting out is they really should take advantage of, maybe if they're in a graduate position, if they're maybe doing an internship or a junior position, to understand that they have a lower set of responsibilities than maybe sort of things that they're being dependent on for delivery. But they should use that opportunity to try and see what else is out there in the business. And I worked at IBM during my internship years, and there was a lot of positions, a lot of opportunities that opened themselves up, sort of being in that sort of internship graduate area to go and attend different conferences to assist out with running those conferences. So we did one that was a security sort of conference at Combank, and I actually managed to meet some people there, and we managed to actually turn that into an opportunity for me to do a bit of a demonstration for blockchain for some of our partners at IBM. And I was only really able to get that opportunity because I was sort of in that space of being sort of new. If I was to take the day off to do the conference and whatnot, was to do the sort of the demo, people were more open to being accepting of that. So I think, people want to jump in and highly deliver. And I think, that's very, very admirable. But I think as well, understand that you're in a place where you can really take opportunity, and, there won't be that many, places once you start getting higher up where you're really dependent for delivery to be able to, to seize on those.
Can you share a pivotal moment in your career journey that made a significant impact on you?
Yeah, so I would say that my first sort of non-internship, non-graduate position that I had at Azimuth was definitely one of the things that helped really shape my career. And by that, it was the fact that I was coming into a sort of new position that they were opening up there, which was doing test harness development, which is an interesting space because it sort of borders on a QA and then development space. But I was the only person that was in that, and there was no sort of set run book for how to deliver within that. The expectations were sort of vague. It was sort of come in and try to help out where you can, shore up quality, deliver some test harnesses. But for the most part, it was there for me to really take. And I think the main thing that really helped me grow into the engineer that I am today is just the fact that it was sort of sitting there by myself, and if there was a challenge coming up, there were smart people that I could go and ask, but they wouldn't know specifically about the sort of problem area that I'm trying to solve.
Hmm.
And just trying to build that confidence to be able to take problems, really go through every single possible opportunity up until the moment that you say, like, I've explored everything possible to do here, and there's no possible solution. I think sometimes when we hit roadblocks, sometimes it can feel like, there's pressure to deliver, or there's got to be, maybe there's just no way, or we've got to, divert. Just having that confidence to be like, I think I can really like try and look at this problem down to it, like its last piece, and really get it solved. And once you get that done a couple of times, you really build up that confidence, and most problems will start to lose their sort of dauntingness. They're less scary, and that's when I think you start to become more of a senior in sort of your position, is when you're able to be a bit more confident to jump into the unknown. So I would say for people who are maybe more in the intermediate and stuff like that, try to start finding areas where you can maybe try to take that sort of responsibility on yourself, to really dive into areas that maybe other people haven't. There might be some sort of black box system that exists within your ecosystem. Maybe try and be the person to actually understand it, and maybe try and fix it. And you'll be surprised to I think how people really appreciate that, but also as much as to how much you grow in your confidence to handle problems without that sort of supervision or guidance.
So how do you approach challenges then, and setbacks in your professional life, and what's your go-to strategy for, I think, getting past them?
Yeah, so I think maybe when you're early on in your career and you start to look at challenges that you face, it can maybe be like, you look at the successful people that are around you, your tech leads, the fact that they're able to overcome their challenges, understand that they had challenges along their way, and that there's never going to be a sort of perfect career where everything is just laid out for you. You've been able to essentially just keep climbing the ladder, and I'd say maybe if you are just climbing that ladder seamlessly, maybe question, are you getting challenged enough in your own career? I would say I'd link back to when I was a technical lead, and then I actually moved back to being a senior developer. People might consider that to be a bit of a setback in the career, and that could definitely be construed that way. But there were certain challenges that I had in my tech lead role. I think things were telling me that there was I wasn't able to focus as much on my technical growth. I was getting bogged down a lot in sort of process and managing a lot of that. And so when I got back into that senior role, I just was like, I needed to account for that sort of lost technical knowledge, or the gaps that I felt that I had. I used that time, got my AWS certifications, dived into some interesting challenges, learned a lot. And then I was able to use that as a springboard into my current position. So, listen to maybe what the challenges are, or the setbacks that you face. Try to, look at them for why they occurred, but look at, what sort of opportunities they exist. As I was sort of linking back to earlier, as sort of a junior intermediate, it's fine if you're maybe was classified as a senior and you moved to an intermediate, because maybe the responsibilities you were given at that time were probably too much maybe for the skill set that you had. But that doesn't mean that you can't just regrow that grow that skill set into where you actually need to be for a senior, and maybe consider the sort of aspects that you may be missing there.